Okay, in today's lesson, we will be drawing a kitchen plan. The kitchen plan that we will be drawing will be an open concept, so there will only be two walls. One of those walls will be on the outside or exterior and will contain a window, and the other wall will be a partition wall or an interior wall. The open concept is something that is newer builds. Usually kitchens now aren't closed off to the dining area or to the dining or to the living room area. So let's begin by opening up the DesignCAD program. And once it opens, it gives you this little box here. I want you to click on Drawing Units, and we will be drawing in feet. So let's change those to feet. Press OK, and then the New button. Of course, with DesignCAD, you get the tip of the day, so you're always welcome to read that and see if you can learn something new. To begin, we will go over to our drawing tools here, our line drawing tools, and select the second tool. This is called our Ortho line drawing tool. We'll start by drawing the exterior wall. Now, because we're going to be paralleling the wall and the window separately, we're going to be drawing each section individually. So start by left-clicking on the top left portion of the screen, selecting Point Relative, remembering that the quotation key is the quick key for point relative. dx, distance on x, will be 8 feet. You can put 8 apostrophe for 8 feet, or you can simply put in just 8. Because we've already set our drawing units to feet, if we don't have any inches to draw, we'll just put in the number, the whole number, without feet or inches. Press enter and press enter one more time. There's your first 8-foot line. We're going to proceed by drawing a 4-foot line, snap by right-clicking to the end of the 8-foot line. Point relative, this time we're going 4 feet. Enter again, and repeat, and this time 8 feet. So we're going to right-click, point relative, 8, and enter. And I'm going to fit to window so that you can see everything, and I'll zoom out just once. And just to show you, I'm just going to put some temporary dimensions in here to help you on your way. I drew 3 lines that are connected, 8, 4, and 8. Now these lines can be paralleled down using the parallel tool, which is found underneath the line drawing tools. It's the 7th one in, 7. And we'll set our parallel distance to 6 inches. So when I type in 6 inches and move my mouse, watch what happens to the 6 inches. It will automatically convert to 0.5, which is a decimal equivalent. And this is a left click tool. So left click on the line and down. Now it goes back to the cursor. If I want to keep using the tool continuously, I will double click on the tool and I can use it over and over again until I'm done with the tool. Now that I've completed that, I'm going to go get my Ortho line tool, double click on it, and let's close off this line here by snapping, enter, right click, enter, and right click, enter. We can also parallel our window. Just to designate that it's a window, we're going to put a line that's 3 inches, or the decimal equivalent is 0.25, and left click, down, left click. And there we have it. Now, what you want to do when you start drawing something is save it immediately. So I'm going to save this just to my desktop, File, Save As. You can save this to your folder. I'll just put this in my desktop. I haven't created a folder yet, so I'll just put it on my folder or on my desktop, and I'll create a folder later. We'll call this Kitchen Plan. And save. So now I will be able to just press Control S every time I want to save. It'll be a quick save, and I should save every about 5 minutes. If I hold down this here, I'm going to get that Ortho tool, and I'm going to now draw this partition wall. I'm going to snap to this top line, the end of it, and point relative, tab takes me to dy. I'm going to go negative 11 feet. Now again, I don't have to put in the foot sign, so just negative 11. Oh, and I see dx is 8. I want to make sure that's 0. Always double check that this is on last point. And press OK. And enter. Now that went off screen, so I'm just going to fit this to screen so you can see the ends of the drawing. This is an interior wall, so we're going to draw it as 4 inches. We'll grab the parallel tool, type in 4 inches. It'll give you the decimal equivalent of 0.3 repeating. And again, you can go in or out. We're going to go inwards and left click. Simply take now your ortho line drawing tool, right click at the end of the wall to cap it off. To screen. And right here, we're going to trim that with a double trim tool. That's in your trim tools, which is underneath the letter T, the second one in. And this is a left click tool, so we left click near this line and near this line, and it will trim that up nicely. The next thing we're going to work on is the pantry. To draw the pantry, we're going to draw 4 feet 8 inches inwards and put a little tail on our drawing. So on our line, that is, I'm going to grab my ortho line drawing tool, right click, point relative, and 4 feet 8 inches. Tab takes me to the next line, 0, enter, and I'm going to move my cursor up and left click and enter. The reason I'm doing this is where I'm going to draw from, and it's bad practice to draw line over line in drafting. So I put a tail onto there so I can easily delete it later. I'll just put that back. And I'll do the same this way. Point relative, negative 4 feet 8 inches. Enter, and then put the tail on and enter. Now that I have a starting point, I can draw the walls of the pantry. Interior walls, whether they're partition walls or pantry walls, I guess that would be still a partition wall, they're going to be 4 inches. So the same as we did that left-hand wall. Grab the line drawing tool, right click or snap to the end of that line, point relative, and we are drawing this 2 foot 6 inches. 2 feet 6 inches. And we do have to put in the inch sign as soon as we start putting in inches, and we have to designate the 2 and the 6. This is 2 feet 6 inches. 2 apostrophe 6 quotation mark. And there's our 0 on dy. Press OK or enter and enter again. And do the same here. Exactly the same, but this time I'm going down, so it's on the y-axis, and it's negative. Negative 2 foot 6 inches. Enter, enter. I no longer need this anymore, so I'm going to click and delete, and I don't need this, so I'll click and delete. This is a 45-degree angle, but I can just simply connect the dots, the ends of the lines, with the line drawing tool, which is the first one here. Right click, enter. Now that pantry has thin walls. I want to make those 4 inches thick, so I'm going to take and hold down my line drawing tools, 7 in, gets me to that parallel tool again. It's already set at 4 inches or 0.3333. Left click in, and again, if I double click on the tool, it'll stay open until I'm done with it. Let's zoom into the pantry now so you can see that a little better using my Fit to Window Zoom tool. And we're going to go and put this way a bit. We're going to trim that up with that trim tool, which is the second trim tool in our trim drawer. And we simply left click near that line, left click near that line, and do the same over here, left click and left click. Now there is going to be a door here. In order to make the door, we need to find the middle part and then parallel half the width of the door this way and half this way. This is a 2 foot 6 door. So to do that, we're going to draw an angled line here to the midpoint. Now, because these walls are all even, 2 foot 6 and 2 foot 6, once I find the midpoint, I'm going to be able to parallel up the wall and down the wall. So grab the line drawing tool, the angle tool, right click or snap, And you'll notice that it won't automatically snap to any points. So I want it to snap to a midpoint. So I'm going to go over here, grab my midpoint snap. If this toolbar isn't open, we can open that. I'll show you that in a bit. And we're going to come back over here, and you can see it's now picking midpoints to snap to. I want to snap to the outside midpoint, and this is a left click tool, not a right click. Right click is only for point snap. Okay, this is for line snap, midpoint, line snap, and left click and press enter. Now I just want this part of the line right here. So here's a new tool for us to learn. It's the extension drawing tool. It is the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, what is that, eighth one in. And this takes lines and it makes them shorter. So I can snap on the end of this, but I don't know which of the 3 lines I'm going to get. So I'm going to left click near this end and I'm going to bring it in and I'm going to use point snap to snap right here. So right click and it will snap in line with this line. Okay, now before I forget, in order to get tools up that aren't here, if you put your mouse up here and right click, you have a whole bunch of different tools here. So this one is that snap toolbox I was telling you about if you don't have that. So right click and I'll put that back up. Where did it go? Oh, there it is. Now that that is done, I can take this and I can parallel it up and down 15 inches using my parallel tool. Type in 15 in inches or the quotation mark. And left click up. Need to grab that tool again and left click down. Now, this is the door opening and I have to get rid of all this stuff, all these lines in the middle. To do that, we're going to use kind of a non-technical trim tool, so called section trim, which trims everything that I outline in a box. To do that, press the letter D as in dog, and the section trim box should show up, and it says trim inside section. Now this is a rough trim. I'm just going to take out some of this stuff, and as soon as I left click, and I don't drag it, I just left click, it gets rid of all the stuff inside the box. Now I can take my line extension tool, right click at the end, and right click here to shorten that line. Again, double clicking on the tool. If I have a whole bunch to do, right click, right click, right click. Now let's zoom out to see what we have. And there you have it, your pantry and your exterior and your interior walls. Make sure we save it. So again, Control S or File Save every 5 minutes or so. And I'm going to zoom back into that pantry. I think what we're going to do actually before we do the door in the pantry is let's make some countertops. Now traditionally countertops are approximately 25 inches wide or deep. So we'll use our parallel tool. You can see how much I enjoy this tool. Type in 25 inches and grab one of these 2 lines here. This is a left click tool and bring it down and left click. Do the same while you have the tool set up and inside. There we go. Now obviously those countertops are going right through the pantry and not going far enough. So we're going to take our extend tool, double click on it, get this out of the way, and I'm going to snap to the end of this, and then I'm going to snap to this point right here. That'll shorten it. And this I'm going to snap and snap to this point and press. Okay, now let's finish up those countertops. We want this wall to be sticking out 2 inches. Let me go like this and zoom into it a little bit. So I'm going to reduce the length of this line by 2 inches. Grabbing the extension tool, I'm going to snap on this, and you can see I can make it smaller or bigger. I'm going to precisely reduce the length by 2 inches. So I'm going to go point relative, quick key, dy, going to be 2 inches because I'm going up. And this will effectively make this line 2 inches shorter. Now I can take just the line drawing tool, my ortho line drawing tool, and snap here and snap here. Okay, so that capped that counter off nicely. Now let's do something with this. Let's put a 45-degree angle on this. To do that, let's go in 8 inches, and then we'll put a tail on that because I just want a point right here. So we'll do that with the line drawing tool, snap to the edge. We're going to go -8 inches. Tab takes me to the next level, 0, enter, and up and left click. Again, okay, and press enter. Now this right here is the point that I want. So let's go get our angle drawing tool, snap to this point, and we're going to go use a point puller tool. Now I need to tell the computer what angle I want to go to. So let me zoom into here. So with point puller, I can draw at 0 degrees, or I go counterclockwise, 45, 90, 135, 180, and another 45 degrees is 225. And to tell the computer to do that, I use point puller. Point puller is using the colon or the semicolon key to the right of the letter L. So if you press that, this box shows up. With all these boxes, make sure it's on last point always. The distance, we're going to go farther than the counter so that we can trim it later. I'm just going to put in 4 for 4 feet and an angle of 225 degrees, and then press enter. Now that nicely went by, it didn't go too far, it went by the edge of the counter. So now all I have to do is clean it up. Click on this, and I just press the delete key on the keyboard. And I can trim up this here with my double line trim tool. The second one in, and I just click here, and it trims it nicely. Okay, let's zoom out, see what we have. Beautiful. Let's do the door now, since we're talking about point puller. So we're grabbing the angle. We're going to right click on this point. Let me zoom back in there. Right click on this point. Now this time, I'm going to go, you know that going halfway is 180, going all the way is 360. And if I want to go less 45 degrees, spin and 60, subtract 45 is 315 degrees. So the door is 2'6" and my angle is 315 degrees. Point puller is the colon. So I'll type that in, 2'6" and an angle of 315. Let's enter and press enter again. Now that's a paper thin door, so let's make that thicker by grabbing that parallel tool again. And interior doors, I believe, are 1 5/8 thickness. That's kind of a standard. So let's see what that comes up to. Every tool is a calculator. So 1 5/8 inches. Let's move my mouse. Oh, won't let me do that. Let's try this. 5/8 inches. Or no, we won't put the inch sign there. 625. 5/8. Is it 5/8? Now I'm second guessing myself. I believe so. So we're going to put in 1.65. I'll double check that. We're close and it looks good. We're going to left click on this. 1.65 is what you're setting it to, not feet. Better put an inch behind that. Let's see what this looks like here. Kind of seems thick. We're going to go with it. Okay, now let's cap off the edge of the doors. Right click, enter, and right click, enter. And that was with the line drawing tool. Now that that is done, we just have to show the swing direction with an arc. Underneath the arc drawing tools, when you open that drawer, it's the one that looks like a quarter of a piece of pie. Now, you have to be careful because when you use this, if you draw from the wrong direction, it'll draw it opposite. You want to snap on this point first and then snap on this point. Okay. We have a pantry and a door. Doors for pantries generally swing outside for obvious reasons. If they swing inside, you lose probably half of your space. Maybe not quite, but you lose a lot of space. So that's why it's an outswing door. Next on our list is let's make the island next. Now, a typical walkway for an island, especially if there's a dishwasher, and we're going to have a dishwasher here, is going to be 4 feet. So we're going to just use our parallel tool once again. Type in 4. And let's left click on the edge of the counter and pull it down. 4. We'll do the same here. Might as well keep it consistent. A lot of traffic in this kitchen. 4. And this will be in line with here. So that's good. We want to trim these off with our second one in. That's our double line trim tool by left clicking near the line and left clicking, and it'll clean that up nicely. Now, we can do this many different ways. I'm just going to use the line drawing tool to snap here, and when I right click with the ortho line drawing tool, it will line up here. Okay, I'm going to press enter here because I'm going to be paralleling this line and I want it a separate line. You can see these are separate lines. That's important for what I'm going to do here right away. Grab the ortho line drawing tool and we'll just close this up. Right click, enter. Now that's a nice big long island. And actually I think it's a little bit big for my kitchen because I was going to put a table here. Let's shorten that up. I think I want this to be approximately 8 feet long. So let's just move this out of the way for now. Let's measure what we have and see how hard that's going to be to fix. 10 feet, 10 inches. Okay. If we take our ortho line drawing, or sorry, extension tool, not ortho, our extension tool, which is under your trim tools, we can shorten this by right clicking, and I want to make it 8 feet. So 10 feet, 10 inches minus 8 feet should be about 2 feet, 2 inches. So relative, I'm going left, so it's negative 2 feet, 2 inches. Enter. Let's see if that worked. My math today. I have to go another 8 inches. Same thing. Gonna go another negative 8 inches. There we go. That should be right. We can always check our work. Right click, 8 feet. Yeah, I think I'm pretty happy with that. And I'm just going to take and use this extension tool, right click, and now I can snap to this, right click, and I can move something here by the 3-click move method. So if we right click here, it'll select the end of the line. And if I want to pick it up, I right click. And now I've got it picked up, and I can right click to put it back down. Zoom out. Great. Okay, now let's parallel this bottom one up. A typical overhang for if you want to have seafood at a counter is approximately 1 foot. So we're going to use our parallel tool, type in 1, left click on this, move it up, and left click. Now this is a hidden line of the bottom of the cabinet, so I'm going to double click on that. And we'll change that to a hidden line. And we will change that perhaps to 1. That's a nice hidden line size. The next thing we're going to do to our island is chamfer the corners. To chamfer the corners, we're going to use a trim tool for chamfering. It's the one next to the extension tool. And when this shows up, there's a box that asks you how far do you want the chamfer to be. So we're going to set this to 8 inches, and we're going to set this to 8 inches. And I'll explain what that is here in a second. What that does is when I left click here and I left click here, it makes an 8-inch chamfer. Now 8-inch, the definition for 8-inch is from here to here. That's going to be 8 inches. Okay, and 8 inches is going to be the same this way too, like that. I don't have to have a 45-degree chamfer, but that's typically what we do to match the lines of the pantry, to match other lines. 45 degrees is a pretty common measurement in construction and in cabinet making. So that's what we're going to stick to. We'll do the same over in the other corner. We're going to take same numbers, left click and left click. Okay, so there you have it. I do have this kitchen plan online for you to look at. I believe I have a PDF version of it. There's more to come with this. We are going to be drawing the sink, the dishwasher, the stove, and the fridge. And the third video will probably be dimensioning and a title block. But I think that's enough for one video. All the dimensions that you really need are on that piece of paper, that PDF. So I'm not going to dimension this. These are just temporary dimensions. I'll actually be deleting these now. And I'm going to save it before I close the program. So thank you for tuning in. And in your next video, we will be working on the appliances.